I'm going to give you 11 different things that you can write down that will help you be a better negotiator so that you can help more people accomplish their dreams. You can help them go from pain point all the way over to dream outcome, and you can bridge that gap. Because again, the best negotiator can help the other party understand that the idea that's being presented will help them bridge that gap more than anything else or anybody else. All right, last episode of April. If you're anything like me, you're like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that this month has flown by, but we're gonna end the month going over negotiation tactics as a salesperson, as a real estate agent, and what you need to know, the nitty-gritty applicable principles to go and put more money in your bank account. Because again, like negotiation is a massive part of everything. And I'm gonna read some quotes today that'll hopefully change your paradigm about negotiation and have you see it differently. Because if you can see it differently, then you'll be like, okay, now I got to go read the books. Now I got to go with mentors, because that's really going to help my business. Sometimes we talk about prospect in the sales industry, in the real estate industry. But okay, under that umbrella, what are the subcategory skills? And the massive, most important one is you've got to have these negotiation skills. So hang tight, grab your notebook. Just like every episode, you're going to take a ton of notes. I'm going to give you 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 very specific principles about negotiation so that you can go take these notes and apply them to your industry after watching this. Before we do that though, again, every episode, we've got to talk about this. You've got to keep your education ahead of your paycheck. You've got to accelerate through the learning curve. Success leaves clues. Lewis Howes, I first watched him and subscribed to his podcast probably 10, 15 years ago when it started. And it's been an incredible ride, but he always talks about how success leaves clues. And in the sales industry and in real estate specifically, people want to work with people they like, trust, and know that are competent in getting them exactly what they want. That's called a leader. So this quarter, we're talking about leadership. So every episode this month, you've heard me talk about this. Make sure you finish this book as we wrap up April. Go read 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Go learn from John C. Maxwell. Don't let this just be a 1-month introduction to him. Go incorporate, let him be a parasocial mentor and influence in your life because you listen to his stuff, you read his books, buy his courses, go to his seminars, etc. This is one person that you definitely want to learn from. All right, let's jump into this. Grab your notes. Again, we're talking about negotiation. This is going to be an incredible episode. You're going to get very specific pointers on how to go negotiate better for yourself, for your own commission, but also for your buyers, sellers, investors, anyone that you work with in the sales industry. Okay, when I think about negotiation, I have a visual image of a carrot being strung down on a string, and it's almost as if someone's hanging it in front of me, and they're like, oh, come get this carrot. And it's like, oh man, I really want that. And so in negotiation, it's how can you put that carrot in front of people and help them realize that what you're presenting is the thing that they want. And if you can get really good at that, and they understand that it's a win-win scenario, that there's no one else that's losing in this deal, you'll get more deals across the table. Because again, as a buyer's agent in real estate, your job is to get deals across the table. As a listing agent, your deal is to get deals across the table. How do you do that? That's called negotiation. There's some great mentors that I'm going to mention today, a long list of books that you can go read after I mention today, and then we're going to get into the nitty-gritty. So when I think of 3 mentors in negotiation, there's 3 people. The first one is Chris Voss. And you can see here on my stack, I usually keep like 20 of these in my office. I have a ton of his books, the paperback. And anytime I run into someone that doesn't know Chris Voss, that's not that good at negotiation, I always give him a copy. But he's a professional FBI negotiator, and he's probably one of the best in regards to this. And if you can really just hone in on what he teaches and read his books and watch his YouTube videos, you'll get really good at it. So Chris Voss is the first person that I recommend. And here's a great quote from him. He says, if you want someone to say yes to anything, you're in a negotiation. So parenting, relationships, it's not just sales. It's not just the consumers that you're working with, but anytime you're trying to get someone to say yes, you're in negotiation. Chris says, we may not know that we are in negotiations every day, so it's important to embrace each encounter with a positive frame of mind and active listening. If somebody's trying to get you to say yes to something, you're in a negotiation, he says. If you say I want or you think I need, you're in a negotiation. You're probably in 3 to 7 negotiations every single day. So this is a topic that is consuming your life way more than you think. And if you're a parent, you understand that you're constantly having to negotiate with your kids. If you have a lot of sellers or buyers or investors or other people you're working with, again, you're constantly negotiating. So you got to get good at this. The second person is Grant Cardone. I was trained in sales 15 years ago when Grant Cardone was starting his sales academy and university. And I got like the OG version of Grant. And one of my favorite quotes from him is, your ability to do well in life depends on your ability to sell others on the things in which you believe. The individual who combines a great attitude with a great product becomes unstoppable. The burden of the entire economy of our culture today rests on the ability of salespeople and their ability to negotiate. And I love that, right? It's such a good principle that your ability to sell others on things that you believe on because you think that it will help them the most, like that is a sales skill that you can go and acquire. And again, that's negotiation. And the third one is Taylor McCarthy. He is probably, in my opinion, the single greatest door-to-door salesman ever, period, to ever have a product to be sold door-to-door. And this is what he says. There are only 2 things you need to overcome as a salesperson. The first is trust. The second is respect. Then you can start negotiating and presenting your offer. And so again, too often we jump into negotiations or we think, oh shoot, we're about to negotiate. It's like, well, do you have trust? Do you have respect with the other party? If you don't, then you're technically not in the negotiations yet. And so learning that and what we'll talk about today will help you a ton. Okay, so these are the greatest books that I can think of. I've got a couple of them with me today in regards to negotiation. So I'm going to have my team put this on the screen. If you haven't read any of these, I highly recommend you write them down in your notes and you go buy every single one of them and you go through these books, watch the YouTube videos, and get really good at this skill. The first one is Getting Past No. The second one is Emotional Intelligence 2.0. Read People Like a Book. Surrounded by Idiots. Getting to Yes. Talking to Strangers by Malcolm Gladwell. 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership and Crucial Conversations. And obviously the ones that I've already talked about. So that's a long list. We'll have them put it back up here on the screen. Make sure you go and ask yourself, are you reading any of these? And even in addition to those, you've got Talk Like Ted and The Power of Storytelling. Again, negotiation first is your ability to present. It's your ability to communicate clearly, paint a picture, and get that carrot on a string, like really just put it in front of people to create that like excitement, the drive, like the, ooh, I really want that. Because if you don't do that, like Taylor McCarthy says, they're not even going to want to negotiate with you. So learn to communicate and then go get the actual skills to negotiate. Go get these skills and apply them so that you can help more people get what they want. So these would be the books that I recommend. These are the mentors that I would follow. Now let's get into the nitty gritty. Like these are the actual skills in negotiation that you need to apply in order to go close more deals. But before we do that, I want you to write on your piece of paper. If I were to ask you, who are the best negotiators? Because if you can answer this and you can write them down on a list of like the 5 best negotiators, it'll definitely give you an eye-opening experience on what a good negotiator actually looks like, and that it's a lot easier than you think. And if you can identify these different categories, these different types of negotiators, then you'll realize what skills you need, and the list that I give you will make more sense. So right now, if I were to ask you on the screen, and you were writing your piece of paper, who are the best negotiators? List off 5. who would you put? Who are they? In our society today, who are the best negotiators? And make a list. Okay, let me show you my list. Let's walk through who I think are the best negotiators, and you'll probably laugh at a couple of these. First one, kids. Kids are incredible negotiators, and they are persistent little buggers. And I've got 3 of them, and I've got one, Grayson, my youngest, that is one persistent little negotiator, and he will just not quit until he can find a way to get what he wants. And I've trained him really well, and he knows what he's doing, but kids are incredible. And again, like, figure out why. The second one is dogs, not cats. Dogs are incredible negotiators. They, if you think about it, they just love you. They just love you. They love you. And you do what they want because of that love, because of the attention. And so, again, make your own list separately, but dogs are really good. The third one, moms. Man, if you've had a good mom, you understand that they can get you to run through a wall. And they are just an incredible blessing to have in your life. But as a negotiator, they're really good. The next one would be salespeople. And the last one would be doctors. Sometimes doctors will say something and we don't even question them. We just do what they say. So being able to have that place of authority and respect is an incredible trait to negotiators. So kids, dogs, moms, salespeople, doctors, these are the people that are really good negotiators. Yes, FBI hostage negotiators. Yes, like the best of the best salespeople are good too. And they're on the list. But kids, dogs, moms, doctors, they're also really, really good. Okay, let's go through the list. So I'm going to give you 11 different things that you can write down that will help you be a better negotiator so that you can help more people accomplish their dreams. You can help them go from pain point all the way over to dream outcome, and you can bridge that gap. Because again, the best negotiator can help the other party understand that the idea that's being presented will help them bridge that gap more than anything else or anybody else. So take your notes out. Number 1, be at a state of peace. You cannot let your emotions get in the way. Too often, salespeople, they go to negotiate and they can't control their emotions. Their emotional regulation sucks. They come in angry, prideful, arrogant, rude, or they had a bad day and they can't disconnect those emotions from this conversation. So again, like, you've got to get really good at being at a state of peace. You've got to be calm, because when you're calm, you can think clearly. And when you can think clearly, it allows you to put all the pieces together and best negotiate for you and your clients. The second one is strip all biases that you have, that your clients have, that the other party has. Strip them all. Understand that we start at a neutral position. It's not about you. It's not about the other clients. It's not about your clients. It's not about their clients. Strip all the biases, all the attachments that you have to every outcome. Come in it as a neutral party. And Chris Voss, if you've read his book, he talks about this a ton. Like, as a FBA hostage negotiator, he's got to come into that with no biases. He's got to be detached, neutral as can be, because again, that puts them in a good headspace to go and negotiate with the person that is in front of them. So that's number 2. Number 3, the one with the most data wins. The one that has all the pieces to the puzzle wins. So if you're representing a buyer and you're negotiating on their behalf to get their offer accepted, then you need all the pieces to the puzzle. From the buyer's perspective, from the listing agent's perspective, from the seller's perspective, besides highest and best listing agent, what is it that they're looking for? Is it time? Is it speed? Is it reliability that this offer will get accepted? Like, pull out all the pieces to the puzzle along the way. And the person that has all the pieces to the puzzle, or at least the most, that knows the cards that are in the deck, they're the ones that will usually get their deal accepted or their way accepted or their idea accepted in that negotiation. Number 4, think win-win. If you guys watch The Office or you're big fans of Michael Scott, he's got an incredible episode. It's so funny. And he calls it think win, win-win. Everybody wins. It's one of the funniest episodes. Go back and watch that. But you have to have this mindset of, let's let everybody win. Like, it's not me versus you or you versus me. How can we make sure that all parties win? And if we can brainstorm and think that way, then everybody's going to want to be more involved in putting the pieces of the puzzle together because everybody's best interests are at stake. Too often salespeople think that, oh, I'm going to get the other salesperson. I'm going to get the other realtor and I'm going to be the one that comes out on top. It's like, no, we come out on top if our buyer gets the house they want and their seller walks away with the money they want. And we can do that as a win-win approach. And usually those that do that, they get more deals accepted because they help more people get what they want. So stop thinking it's you versus them or them versus you. Be more win-win. The next one, ask questions. Be genuinely interested and then listen for the pieces to collect. Again, if I ask questions about the other party or the person that I'm representing and I genuinely listen because I've got no biases, I'm thinking win-win, I'm at a calm state, then I can listen for all the pieces that I need to collect to put in my, I always call it putting arrows in your quiver that I can use later in the negotiations. But right now I'm asking questions that are allowing me to listen for those pieces that sometimes are too often missed. Number 6, detach yourself from the outcome. You cannot be attached to the outcome. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If it works, it works. Who cares? You are abundant minded. You are going to go help more people get other deals, but it's kind of like when you go buy a used car, you have to be willing to walk away. You have to be willing to have the conversations with the salespeople and walk away. If you're too attached, then you're going to get emotionally sucked in and you're going to lose the deal. So detach yourself. Number 7, develop EQ over IQ. So learn to have emotional intelligence. It's not about your degree. It's not about what university you went to. It's not about the books you read. It's about how good can you look at the other person, pick up their personality, and really understand who you're dealing with and knowing them as a person, their strengths and their weaknesses. So for me, in real estate, when I call a listing agent to start the negotiations, I'm going to look up their Instagram profile. I'm going to look up who this person is. I'm going to call title and lenders and ask about this realtor before I call because I need to understand who is on the other side. So make sure that you get really good at that and you're not just picking up the phone and randomly calling without doing any research beforehand. That will kill you. The next one is number 8, communication skills. Again, just like I mentioned, and like I had talked about on the previous episode last week. So if you haven't watched that, go back and watch the 3rd episode from here in April, is knowing personality styles. You have to understand the frequencies that people communicate on. Because if you do, then you can pivot and be a chameleon and mold to that personality. And they're going to want to negotiate with you because you're not coming across as like the anti-personality to the personality that they are. Some people that are friendly, bubbly, expressive, they hate the military sergeants that are direct and rude and straight to the point. You can't do that with the bubbly, expressive, fun personality. You can't do that. But with a person that's driven, direct, military, you can't be the other personality. And so you have to be able to mold and really understand the frequencies of communication. All right, next one is the actual persuasion skills. Like learning to persuade is part of negotiation. And that's why you have to go read books from Kurt Mortensen and others on persuasion, on charisma, on how to really get people to want to do what you want them to do, how to take that carrot and just dangle it in front of them so that they actually want to do what is in front of you. So go acquire those skills. Number 10, be persistent and creative. Think outside the box. Again, like if you've ever seen that diagram or the activity that people usually have you do is they have a box and they have numbers or points on the screen and you have to connect them without the line crossing. I'm sure you've seen that activity or tried to do it. Well, how do you solve that problem? You have to go outside the box, come back over, and you can connect them all without crossing lines. So again, you've got to think outside the box. How is this a win-win? What are unique, unusual ways that we can see from different perspectives to go and figure out this problem? And then number 11 is presentation skills. Too often we don't talk about this in sales or in real estate. We just say prospect. Go prospect more. Go talk to more people. But again, if we strip that down, what are the subcategory skills? One of them is presentation. So one of my favorite books on this, and I brought this today, is Talk Like Ted. So it's the 9 public speaking secrets of the world's top minds that gave TED Talks. Okay. So that's an incredible book. And then also The Power of Storytelling by Ty Bennett. These are great books. Learn how to present, learn how to, in theory, be on a stage in front of your consumer, in front of your client, and present and communicate an idea. There's different tactics to that. There's different skills that you need to acquire in order to get good at presenting. And so as that list is compiled, the last one really to me is you've got to get good at presenting. You've got to get good at allowing an idea to surface and getting people to clearly understand what you're communicating, because a confused mind will always say no. If they can't get behind what you're explaining, then they're going to bail out. It's easier just to say no and go do something else. So that's it. Hopefully that list was super helpful. Hopefully you go through that list and ask yourself, do I have that skill? Am I doing that? Am I thinking win-win? Am I at peace while I negotiate? Have I read the books? Have I listened to the mentors? Have I been parasocially mentored by Grant Cardone, Taylor McCarthy, Chris Voss? Have I read the books? If you're not, then this is a skill-based industry. Other realtors, other salespeople in your industry are beating you. They're getting clients instead of you because they just have the skills to, 1, negotiate their value, and so they take them from you. And then 2, they can help that client get what they want because, again, they're good at negotiating and they can get it across the table. So if you don't have these skills, if you don't have these mentors, if you haven't read the book, go do that. Hopefully this month, all the topics that we talked about were super helpful for you. We made a massive announcement. We talked about Davis sales training and what that's going to look like moving forward. We talked about how to start from scratch, how to literally have nothing in front of you, and how to go create an empire. Then we talked about people skills, and then we ended with negotiation. Again, I want all these videos to be super impactful for you. Come in, take a bunch of notes, go back and apply it, and then come back the next week on Monday for the next episode. You guys are the best. I literally do these just for you so that you can go put more money in your pocket, in your bank account, and impact more lives. We'll see you next month. Super excited for those topics to come out. You guys are the best. Reach out if you have any questions.